Is this rolling?
No, yeah, it's been rolling.
I was like, okay, what are we gonna start? This is
Just
funny.
want to like ease into it. But,
That's fine. You know, gather rapport before you start your investigation.
Where were you last night?
You said $20.
But here I have that he paid 50. No. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Juan Resendiz. Is that how you say it?
Resendiz.
All right, well,
Resendiz.
Juan Resendiz.
You know,
Welcome.
You want to say it right? Thank you.
Resendiz.
Yes.
Welcome.
Bernal.
Bernal.
Bernal. Do you know the origin of your last name?
So I looked it up. I kind of know like what it means, but I don't know where it is from. My sister did that thing where you go online and find out your ancestry. Yeah. She sent it to me like 5 years ago, and I don't remember. I know it said some Asian, little bit of German or Russian, I think, but I don't know. I'll have to ask her, or even do one myself, because I am interested. Like, what is like my background? Was there any like uncle of an uncle of an uncle that was like a badass, or is it just like a bunch of average fucking dudes? But, yeah.
I highly doubt it. I mean, if you made it this far,
Yeah, there's bound to be
because history is riddled with war and slavery. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of you guys did enough, to be badasses.
Eventually.
Like my brother did it, and he said we're slave descendants, and our last name is Portuguese.
Okay.
But I was like, my initial thought was, wow, I can say the N-word.
Okay. So when someone like one of them tells you, you don't know what it's like hey, yes,
brother,
I do.
Brother. Yes, I do, I think.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah.
Or my ancestors have.
I mean, yeah. But I'm also not gonna go on with that slave mentality, that victim's mentality.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. When my brother said it, he sounded like he was like suffering from that.
I'm a slave. That's all I'm gonna be, a slave.
Yeah, yeah.
My 9 to 5.
Just the way he said it is like, yeah, we're slave descendants. Like, oh.
We were.
Yeah. Now look at us, living in peace.
Yeah. No. Like for me, like a lot of Mexicans always kind of have that mentality, or like the people who aren't born here, like they have that mentality. I personally feel like, or I've noticed, is that they're like, oh, we're limited to the things that we can do because we can't get jobs or this or that, or we can travel, and like, sure, that might be true, but it doesn't mean like you can't like be that one guy that like freaking made it, even though he had like all these like walls that he had to break through.
And to be fair, like they say they can't travel, but say they came from southern part of Mexico all the way up to the Midwest. Not too many people in America can travel that far in their lives. You know what I mean? That's a journey.
Yeah.
That's a good flex.
Yeah, like guys at work, they're like, they have this mentality where they're like, oh, we were born poor. Like, yeah, it's like, our parents were poor. That's just how we were raised. Like, sure, you were raised that way. Doesn't mean you have to stay that way. Like, sure, that might be true at the moment, but you could fight through that. Like, sure, like when I was younger, I didn't have much money. Like now, I am blessed with the work that I have. Sure, I'm not a millionaire right now, but like I'm grateful for all the things that I have, and I'm gonna work hard to be able to provide for my family and my friends and everything. So it's like,
yeah, perspective is everything too. Cause like if you ask them to define what being poor is, growing up poor, You know what I mean? A lot of people, especially who were raised in middle class, that I've met, and I do have half siblings, and one of them in particular was complaining about how they had it hard, but I had it way worse, but I didn't see it as bad as the way he saw his upbringing, because they always grew up. They were always in a big house. You know, they always had a fridge full of food. You know, there were times that all we had was like rice. You know, so like going to the food pantry too. You know, but to us, man, that was money. You know what I mean? So like it's all just a state of mind. You know, one-on-one with these people, you start to make them see like their flaws and how they see how they were brought up. You know what I mean?
It reminds me of the story of the two brothers that had a drunk dad. It's like one of them was an alcoholic, the other one wasn't. They asked the son who was an alcoholic, he's like, "Why don't you drink?" He's like, "Because I saw my dad drink." And then they asked the other brother, it's like, "Well, why are you an alcoholic? Well, why do you drink?" He's like, "Because I saw my dad drink." Right? It's like both of them saw their dad drink, but one decided like, okay, this is the outcome of what happens when you drink. I'm not gonna do that. The other one was like, oh, my dad drinks, so I'm gonna drink. So yeah, it's all about perspective and how you see things.
Yeah.
And
not always you're gonna know how to, like, as a parent, I get like they all do their best.
Nobody has like a blueprint on how to raise their kid.
And there's not always like a cookie cutter method of raising children, especially when you have multiple. You know, there's always gonna be a kid that wants more, and they're the ones who are definitely gonna see like the struggle, the suffering, even when the others don't see no suffering. You know. So it's kind of similar for me. I mean, I had many reasons why I was a drunk as a kid, you know, but like I enjoyed the feeling of not feeling the bad things that I felt when I was sober. You know, just being numb from it. You know, getting that escape was liberating until the next day when I feel like shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, this was a great start. All right, Juan, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your childhood. Like, who are you? And then, what was your childhood like?
Well, who am I? I'm Juan. No, just kidding.
Juan,
But so let's see. How far do I start? I could tell you this. Since I was very young, we were bouncing around. So at one point, at the earliest stages of my life, we're moving back and forth from Minneapolis to Chicago. To the point that whenever I meet people in Minneapolis who are from Chicago and they would ask me what part, I didn't have a good answer, because you know what I mean? I would just tell them about areas and department stores we would go to. One of them where they had like a little like a what do you call like the office spaces with the walls that aren't so high, like the
cubicles?
Cubicles, like it was a cubicle with chairs, and then they would have Lion King, and they would just play it and then rewind it to the beginning, and then replay it while our mothers are just meandering around looking for what kind of clothes they want to get, you know. And yeah, so anyways, my mom got remarried when I was very young, after she made her way from Mexico and gave birth to me with a Dominican guy. Had 2 daughters with him. And then yeah, he was very abusive. He sold a lot of drugs. That's the main reason why we were always just bouncing back and forth, you know. We would go on family trips to Brooklyn, and yeah, because he was moving some stuff until he got indicted. He got caught when we had like the main house we were living in. That's where he got indicted from, like to kick the doors open. I was in my whitey tighties. I think they were Batman whitey tighties. And I saw these guys just geared up, just kicking the door in, with their guns and shit. And I was like, what's going on? And then after that, then yeah, we like lost the house. We were moving from like shelter to shelter, living in a basement, one time in an attic, then found ourselves in the suburbs, living in an apartment complex for a couple of years, and then moved from that one to another one. And then yeah, like when I was like about 11, and you're starting to reach puberty, then that's when I really started to act out. I started like it wasn't like just one day, like, like I just fuck my mom, you know what I mean? I just all this like ingrained resentment towards her and even a lot of other people, because there was like bullying here and there, and now I just wanted to push back, but I didn't have a clear target at the time. It was just kind of
bottled up anger that you wanted.
Yeah, it was almost subconscious. Like I was like compelled to be a little shit. And then I met my real dad just around that time when I was the end of the year when I was 11.
Was it by accident or you like?
No, he I don't know necessarily if he found us or my mom reached out to him, but my mom, she was getting too caught up with the partying and stuff. Like she was working 2 jobs while trying to go to school and also trying to support us, putting a lot on her plate, but still just kind of trying to live it up. And that's kind of a bad is a recipe for destruction, self-destruction. Like she was ruining herself, and then it was affecting us, even more, because I'm still like, not that I knew, but like I was still healing from like the abuse, So are my siblings, of course. But yeah, it kind of created a toxic environment in the household where we were all at each other's heads. And then yeah, so I met him, he just kind of assumed the role as a father before I could even accept it. And then I lashed out even more, like in school, like once again with the bullies. I ended up getting expelled, and then I wasn't going to school. Huh?
Fighting them and all that?
Yeah. There was one bully in particular that he always messed with me, and then I had enough. So like I basically picked a fight the day that he didn't even acknowledge me,
Okay.
And it was winter. So yeah, I picked up a chunk of ice and I hit him in the head. Dang. And then yeah, we started fighting. Then the kids started breaking it up because where I hit him, it's thin tissue over the skull, like a lot of blood came out. So I was just covered in blood. And then with the snow, the contrast, it just looked more, just a little more gory. Wow. Yeah.
Like, holy crap, you killed him.
Yeah. And this was out of the school grounds because I used to be in basketball, but we practiced at the church, down the street. So it was just by the parking lot at the church. And he walked back to school and told on me. And while he was walking back, I ran home. And then ran in my room. I took off my clothes and I hid them under a pile of dirty laundry in the closet. And I went in my blankets and I cried like a little baby. Now it's funny, but like back then, being around the machismo, they're just these tough guys, you cry, you're a bitch, but like, yeah, I think it's funny now. And then my mom got home shortly after, and the principal called and said, if I don't go back, then they're gonna call the cops. And I'm like, oh, well, let's go back. So the boy's mom didn't want to press charges. Like they already knew that he was an arrogant little shitty dude. Yeah, but yeah. So they expelled me for that, and I basically got off kind of good, because it's kind of a big deal. Then a couple months later, I want to say, so that was around end of November, maybe around January. They put me in a Catholic school, a Catholic middle school, and then gangsters are in there. So then that's when I kind of started riding with the gangs, And even then it felt weird. Like gangs was always weird. Like, this is my block, this is your block, this is my color, this is your color. And it's like, for me, it was kind of an excuse just to focus all my aggression towards something. So I had targets, you know, as opposed to it being more discriminate. This was more precise, more specific, you know. And
yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, you mentioned Catholic school. Like, I would have thought like it was like a good, clean school, but it wasn't. It just filled with like a bunch of gang members.
it was in the hood.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was in South Minneapolis. It was on, well, it was on Franklin Avenue. I don't remember the exact address, but like around that area at that time was pretty messy.
Okay.
But just a brief fast forward, when I was on parole, like I passed through that area. It looked more artsy, like walls are painted. The parks and the lots and stuff, there's everything, like the structure is just more artsy. It looks nice. It looks nice. You know, there's still little thugs here and there, but back then it was like much more messier.
Like slummy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Crackheads everywhere. But when I got out of prison, it was like fentanyl kind of took over. But like the drug sucks, but on the bright side, fentanyl would zombify these people, but it wouldn't like have them energized and running around.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it won't be like crackheads that are just like trying to start fights or anything.
Or steal.
Or steal.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fentanyl.
So they're more mellow.
People strung out on fentanyl were much more docile.
Okay.
But so yeah, I graduated from there. Then from South Minneapolis, my mom put me in the suburb where I got expelled from, the St. Louis Park Junior High. She put me in St. Louis Park Senior High, and I only lasted a few months there because I was already an alcoholic. I would drink alcohol if I got my hands on it, then whatever, you know.
Down the pipe.
Yeah, down the pipe, whatever time it is, who cares? And then I would skip school for hours at a time, come back in by lunchtime. But this time, me and a friend went to another friend's house and we got drunk, and then we went back. And then I was like kind of on the verge of blacking out, so I still remember, but my dumbass told them, hey, I bet you I can break this mirror in the bathroom with one punch. And I broke the mirror, and it made a lot of noise. And then, everybody heard it, and the teachers, you know, took us to the office or whatever, you know, got sent home, got expelled. Yeah. So then I was back going to an alternative school. On the bright side, it was just around the corner from home. And once again, I was there just for a few months until let me think what happened. Kind of a lot, actually, but I don't want to tell it. You know, I want to be a little more structured. I want to follow along the timeline, but a lot of shit happened. You know, from like gangs and stuff, and we used to box across the street at a park after school until cops got involved. Like we used to bring our gloves and then just go ham with anyone who wanted to show up. And a lot of people started showing up. There was large groups at the park watching just a pair of guys just playing Rock'em Sock'em Robot. And so when the cops got involved, then we moved it to my backyard. And then one of the teachers there at that school, he trained at a boxing gym called Circle of Discipline, and he brought me and a select few. It was like whoever wanted to go to do a session there, and then they gave me an ultimatum, which I wish I took. They're like,
what was it?
Here, we'll let you train here for free if you stop gangbanging. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm already fighting every day. Like, who gives a fuck? And just took the opportunity to make something of myself at that moment. But, you know, neither way, just the way I was at that time, just completely undisciplined. I highly doubt I would have lasted. I would have been consistent. You know, something would have came up. You know, at that time, certain like the oppositions, like the gangs that we were beefing with at the time, they're starting to learn who I am. So they kind of knew my face.
Okay. You're starting
So
to
it
build
was
like a
always on site
reputation.
when we saw each other.
You're starting to like build up a reputation.
Yeah, yeah, a bit of a reputation, yeah. And then yeah, so just shortly after that, like I went out with a couple of friends and we were hanging out all night, driving, joyriding in the friend's mom's van until we ran into my guys. And then we brought them over to that same friend's. His aunt was just moving out of an apartment. She already settled in at her home, her new home. So that apartment was empty.
Okay.
The lease was almost up, so he had the key. Yeah, we got in and then partied in there, left at sunrise. And then he dropped me off. And then my mom was like, "Where's the van? Where's the van? I'm gonna call the cops if you don't tell me where the van is." I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Because the old friend's mom, you know, confronted him, and he said that me and the other friend took it.
Okay, they blamed you.
Yeah, so the lady told my mom she was gonna call the cops if my mom didn't, and it's like I might as well call the cops on my own son than have this lady, I guess, you know what I mean? And yeah, so they show up, I give them attitude, and the cop literally threw me out of my house. He's like, "Get out of here! You think you're tough?" And then probably for about a week, I was homeless. I was just sleeping in a car, sometimes at the park. And then when we got caught, me and a couple guys got caught breaking into a truck. They took me to jail, to juvie, and then my mom got me out. And then shortly after, I got sent to my dad's. So then I was living in Carpentersville for a couple months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for a few months. And once again, it didn't go so well at that school. My dad said I was a bad influence to his kids. Of course, he was right. And then also I was building up a little reputation at the school, at the high school there. So like something was bound to happen, like something much more dangerous. I was already involved in a few little fights here and there, but got jumped once. Yeah,
Dang.
they beat the shit out of me in front of my little brothers. But yeah, so then I moved to Palmyra, Wisconsin, small town, like 1,700 people population. You know, and by then I was just kind of PTSD'd out because like I was so used to something happening every day to there being like basically peace. So I just had anxiety. I was just strung up, you know, didn't know how to handle it. By then I just couldn't make friends, which I did. You know, there were a lot of good people there too. You know, I couldn't be a good friend, you know, and I couldn't have the right people around me. You know, I had to get with the hippies and the druggies and stuff for a little while. And up until I dropped out, as soon as I turned 18, I got a job.
You're like, screw school.
Yeah, I was doing too bad, you know, like when I did good, you know, well, when I paid attention, but like I said, the toxic environment in the household, you know, very dysfunctional. It was like I would go to school just resenting, you know, thinking about the previous argument, the previous fight with my mom, with my brother. And it was just so distracting that I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus in school. The only ones I focused in, the only two classes that really freed my mind was Phy Ed and art, you know, and English class when there were certain topics like the Roman history and World War II. They fascinated me the most. But then when it like the Industrial Revolution was boring, you know, and then after that the segregation stuff, you know, how the white people treated the black people and all this stuff was
Like,
yeah, it just it didn't really catch my attention. But yeah, then so after I turned 19, just before that, one of my friends, the same guy that I went joyriding with, not the one that told his mom that we took, but the other guy that told his mom, me and him took the van, which he took it. Okay, just to clarify once again.
He took it but blamed
So
you.
yeah, he came to live with us, and at that time his girlfriend was pregnant, and they wanted to kind of start over living with us or whatever, but they couldn't really do it. They want to move back, and I was like, shit, I'll go with you, So I moved back with them, and I got back with the gangsters, with my old friends, and then the thing is, when we moved in with my friend's girlfriend's mom, and she was also bouncing off the walls, schizophrenic, cokehead, alcoholic, and that didn't last too long. Like living with them, like she was just way too much. So then I just went back to sleeping in cars again, and at that time, like being homeless kind of drove me more and more. Like I was robbing people to eat, and then some. I was still very angry. So like if one guy put up a fight, I would beat the shit out of him, and then take his wallet. You know what I mean? And at that time, it felt good. Like I just let out some steam.
Let all that frustration on that person.
Yeah, but then I still had more. At that time, it was just
So bottled
it was. I let it out, and then I'm hungry again. Like I needed more altercations. I needed to eat, and but like my crimes would progress. They would get worse and worse, up until when I got invited to a house. It was like a trap house where a bunch of illegal Mexicans lived, and the living room was divided in sheets, and there was beds and stuff. And the owner, like he was renting from the real landlord, so like he was like a booster, like he was selling heavy machinery and parts, and when I went there, like he just got done like helping these guys load up these big tractor tires, or I don't know what exactly for what, but yeah, like these guys were saying some sideways shit, like making remarks like I ain't shit, and then that they're gonna get at me or something like that. So I saw a screwdriver next to me, and I just put it in my pocket for just in case, because I knew something bad was gonna happen. And then one of the guys was arguing with the guy who invited me over. He was a friend at the time, and then so he said something disrespectful, not just towards us, but also to the gang. So then I dropped him and started stomping him. And a guy came up and hit me from the side. So like I stumbled back and I took the screwdriver and I just, I didn't kill him. I'm not gonna talk about that. If I did, I wouldn't say that. But yeah, I stabbed him a few times. And then like he stumbled away, like running away or whatever. And then I just let him be, after however many times I stabbed him. And then I ran in that house and I just saw a PS2 and I just ripped it out of the outlet in the TV, and I ran home. The place I was staying at the time, I was staying at another friend's house, just temporarily, you know what I mean? And yeah, I plugged it up, I tried to make it work, but I kind of ripped the HDMI cord, so it didn't really work. So then I settled with watching the 2008 Olympics. And then I made a sandwich and I'm chilling. And then the same guy who invited me over was throwing rocks out the window because I was in the third floor. And I looked out, he's like, they kidnapped his son. And well, I keep talking about it, but just to be clear, the kid didn't get kidnapped. But yeah, so anyways, this guy was staying, he had a sword in the room. And I looked at it and I was like, bet, like I found a reason to use you. And he lived 6 short blocks from the house. So I ran there, I followed him in his bike and I ran there. And it's funny because I didn't know how fit I was at that time because I was fighting and then sprinting, jumping fences and stuff, running from the cops on a daily basis that like I developed some good cardio, man. So yeah, I ran over there and then we kicked the door open, held everybody, like kept everybody from leaving. I almost don't want to say held everybody hostage. You know, I sometimes think about it. It sounds like a greater deal than it was, which I guess it could. You know, in the court of law, you know that is what I was doing. So I guess I did hold them hostage, and yeah. So like a couple of guys who try to get up, try to get tough. Like I sliced two guys, you know, and kicked a couple of them down. You know, also try to figure out what's going on. And meanwhile, I'm like, where's that guy at that was just talking shit that I was stomping? So I went downstairs. I believe I don't remember if I already knew his room was downstairs, but I went in there, and I was demanding to tell me where the kid was. Somebody's here, and he was panicking. So like, just kept repeating, you know, I don't want any problems. I don't want any, but he wouldn't answer me.
Okay.
So I took it like he was lying. Okay. So I'm grateful that the sword was dull, because like that's when I just chopped him in the head. You know, I took out his eye. I read in the report later, but chopped him in the head, and then I ran outside, and the cops are driving through the alley with their spotlight on.
I'm trying to look for you.
And then yeah, according to the report, they were answering a call about a stabbing incident, but they never knew it. And plus, this is too old. The statute of limitations is already well past. So talking about this isn't gonna get me charged again.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, how much of this can I put in there?
I stabbed the guy, motherfucker. No, but yeah. So like, and believe me, a lot of people always want to know about this stuff, and it'd be nice for me to just put it out there, and then like, cool. They know, they understand, because like, also because who I am today, a lot of people they just don't fathom. They can't believe that I've done that I was this guy, you know what I mean? But like, well,
besides like the tattoos and everything, like you're a humble guy.
Yeah.
So I would have never like imagined like all this unless like hearing it. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why he is the way he is now, because of his past.
Yeah. Yeah. So I used to regret my past until I started to see like, man, my past made me, you know. But you want me to get back to the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please tell us.
So
it's getting juicy.
Yeah. So I got chased around the neighborhood, you know, I didn't have a concept of time at the time, but it felt like a while. Cause like I jumped a couple fences, and I tossed a sword behind some bushes, between the bushes and a wooden fence inside somebody's yard. They never got the weapon. On the report, they only got statements. Okay. You know, that's why I got a plea bargain. That's why I'm still not in prison right now. Okay. You know.
Well, now they know where the sword is.
No, some kid probably found it and was like, "Ooh, let's play." You know.
Yeah. Now his fingerprints are on it. So we got nothing.
After how many times it rained, you know what I mean? Yeah, they chased me around, never found me, and then I went. Like the next day, like I got in contact. By the way, this is before smartphones, so I had to go to somebody else's house to use the computer and reach out to that same friend that lived with us, and before we moved back to Minneapolis together. Uh-huh. I reached out to his cousin, because we've known each other since we were little, you know. Uh-huh. And I asked him if I could go over there, you know, and try to get it back on my feet and also lay low. But that also didn't last long. It didn't even last, I think it was probably like 1 week. Because going to the suburbs and running into like wannabe gangsters who want to puff out their chest and just be disrespectful. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. They ran into me, you know? And I hope I humbled them. You know, I hope they're doing great now in life. But yeah, so I started to get a little too noticed there. Until I went back to Minneapolis one night at a party. I went to a friend's birthday party. And they're like, hey, so these guys are looking at you, so you slicing people with swords? I didn't tell nobody at the time what I did. I was like, what are you talking about? Who told you this? And then they told me that the same guy I chopped, he got a bunch of guys claiming that they're from some cartel, that there was a hit on me for that I did what I did and that I took like $500 in cash, and which I didn't. But my guys jumped them. and then just I didn't find out till I went to prison that that the same guy that told them to get the green light on me, to put a hit on me, well, he told on me, so like that was off. Like they weren't gonna do anything cause a rat sent them off. You know what I mean? And so yeah, so I was like, oh, thank you. You know, very much appreciated. Yeah. And so yeah, I didn't go to prison right away for this one. I blacked out partying because my mom came from out of town, and then we went to one of her friends' house, and you know, like they had the beers and the shots, and then my mom didn't they're like, let's do a shot, let's do another shot, let's do another, and then like I blacked out. Like I don't remember leaving, but yeah, so I left, and then this one it fucked me up the most because like I broke into a home that looked secluded, like nobody was there. People ended up being in there, and I guess in the report I got in a scuffle with the husband while the wife was calling the cops, and then when I was jumping out the window, you know, the cops were already like they were already coming in, so then they chased me down. You know, they roughed me up a little bit, and then and yeah, so like that was you know what, I'm glad I didn't kill anybody. I'm glad, you know,
like nothing else happened. You just broke in.
I'm glad it wasn't worse than it was, but it was so humiliating, so demoralizing, because I was in jail, like unsure if I was just gonna get off on probation, being my first real felony, like what actually happened. Like I wasn't completely sure like what exactly happened, what kind of charges, what more charges could get piled on if I take it to trial, you know. And then my first lawyer, the public defender, me and another guy had him, and it was also his first charge for illegal possession of a firearm and sales. He was selling drugs, got caught. Yeah. They were trying to give him 7 years, and they were trying to give me 4 years. But his got brought down to like toilet time. I saw him later in life, like on the street. I ran into him. But yeah, so then I ended up getting 18 months. No, 21 months. 21. But because, first of all, there are custody levels. Like there's a minimum, medium, closed, max, super max. You know, they put me at the very low end of medium. So like a point less and I'll be at minimum. But then that immediately changed because when they shipped me out from the first prison where they did classification, a week after, because like one of our guys got jumped. So then me and our guys, we planned it out, man. We waited for we planned out to do it in the weight room and to wait like halfway through the workout till these guys' muscles were full of blood because they're just these yoked up gorillas. And average height, like our tallest guy was probably like 5'10", and most of the guys are shorter than me. So it looked comical. So like just a bunch of these little Mexicans just jumping on big black dudes.
100 dudes versus one gorilla.
Yeah. So they gave us 6 months in the hole there, and then shipped us out to a closed and max custody prison. Yeah. And they spiked me right up to max custody level. And I just kept it there because I was constantly fighting, you know. But you know, like that first 6 months in that hole, I don't know why, it was like the most time I've done in the hole was 6 months, and I've done several stints of 6 months, and then anywhere in between that, in between 30 days and the 6 months and 180 days. But you know, I'm not gonna say like prison's the place to go, but that's the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, cause first of all, this prison where I did my first stint in the hole in, when you send out a request form, you know, you write library, you know, and you write down the author's name and the title of the book. And if they don't have that book or it's not available at the time, then they give you a book related with the same author.
Okay,
You know what I mean? And I was requesting GED books, you know, cause like I'm like, man, I gotta get my GED. You know, this is gonna look good for my release. You know, and
do something useful while you're here.
and before I learned this, I was occupying myself so hard, so like to the point that little by little, it was like I was chipping off like all this ingrained resentment. You know, I had these hard walls of resentment, and I was just chipping away at it before I realized that I was doing right. You know, because like I would lose sleep like at night, just thinking about like the people who did me wrong. Okay. Just and even like regretting certain things that I did, you know, how I did it and stuff. But then like I got so busy trying to study, like working out always, that was a given. Working out and reading, you know, I started to put myself away from the bad thoughts. And throughout the course of my 5.5 years, I was becoming more positive. Even though I was still fighting all the time, you know, at least I was not angry, just hopped up on testosterone. You know, my peak testosterone days, you know, I spent it in there. Okay. So it was kind of a given that I was gonna fight. And plus you're in there with a bunch of scumbags, you know, everybody's a criminal in there.
You have to fight in a way.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they either sense weakness or they see that you're strong and they think they could take you. And then a lot of guys, I made a lot of friends with a lot of people I beat up. Like, they first came at me like very disrespectfully, and then after the fight, all of a sudden, you know, like they acknowledged me as a person. You know, I was like, man, okay, sweet, this is cool. Okay, you know,
that's interesting.
But yeah. So fast forward into the third prison I was in. It's called Stillwater. You know, the best big brother I ever had. You know, the father I needed. You know what I mean? And I was in a hole one time, and they gave out a prison newspaper once a month, and I was reading. I read all of them, but I was reading one interview with the lifer, and he was talking about a quote that he read somewhere else. Someone was saying this, that constantly educating yourself prevents the destruction of the mind. And when he said that, man, it hit so hard because
it opened your eyes. Like, oh.
I was probably like 3 years in at the time, and the people I already met at the beginning of my sentence, I saw a lot of them like mentally deteriorate. Okay. Throughout the 3 short years, you know, and I think it was just around that time that my neighbor, the guy next door to me, it's funny. His nickname was Mr. Wonderful. He's you know, cuckoo, you know, but he would like try to commit suicide, but it sounded like it was playful. Like he would hit the duress button and he's like, I'm going to kill myself. Like he would sound so jolly. I wasn't convinced until like, cause I could hear it, and then the COs would go in and they're like, hey, get off the table, get off, like you need to comply. Like there was a lady in the intercom, like, please don't do it. Like, okay. And yeah, so before I would ever make it to, like, I never thought about suicide, but like one of my biggest fears was becoming too far gone.
If you want to become a warrior, technique is not enough. You also must build your mind and spirit to be one who steps forward, not back. To be one that can stare death in the eye and not blink. You must be brave. You must fight hard. This is One Touch Fight Team. See you in the arena.
To be saved, you know, and by then I realized that I needed to save myself, because like the first couple of years I was like still clinging to the hope of like my family somehow miraculously pulling me out of prison, you know, and too many people who would say they would send me money and then not. By that time, I already knew how to hustle. You know, I already knew how to make ink. You know, I would sell tattoo guns too. You know,
Okay.
and art. I got really good at drawing. I would sell drawings. I started doing tattoos. If I was wearing shorts, I would show the camera like my advertisement, my billboards. You know,
Yeah.
and hooch too. I would make hooch. At that time, I wasn't really drinking as much up to a point that I started drinking here and there, but it wasn't too crazy, you know. It was more controlled. I mean, I was in a pretty controlled movement, so I wasn't just gonna risk it just to, you know, feel good. You know, I was actually enjoying being productive, and that really started to make me more mentally sound.
Okay.
Cause like back then, I just couldn't see. Like I never had a future. I never thought of having a future. I never thought of having any plans, any goals or anything. Mm-hmm. I just lived it one day at a time, but not in a good way, you know, because, you know, it's good. You know, like every day, you know, it's like it's Groundhog's Day when it comes to training and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I just didn't see ahead up until like getting my GED in there. You know, that was a good ego, not an ego boost, but it really boosted my confidence.
You're more
I started to see like, wow, I can do anything. You know what I mean? And yeah, I really appreciated my time there. I really made the best of it. You know,
Something good came out of all that.
a lot of good things. You know, and it doesn't mean like right now, like I'm just this perfect, you know, just like. No, I had a lot of ups and downs, because like a lot of the times I tripped and fell in life after prison, they're in different ways that I wasn't necessarily ready for, but they really prepared me for the next one, you know, and then the next one, you know.
So prison really helped shape you, really.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
So it was definitely something else. I mean, the thing is, which I kind of blew past, before I was supposed to get out pretty early on. They picked me up on that first degree assault. So at that time I was in the hole, and what they did, because they just started that same year, because one of my native buddies, he went on a writ. That's what they call, like when they send you from prison to attend court and then send you back. It's called a writ. He went on a writ, and because he was trying to talk his sentence down. He got 30 to 20. He was trying to get less, because he went out to a guy and shot him in the face, and apparently his dad was was in the Senate or something. So like that kind of made it look worse. And so someone in the pod he was in was saying like, oh, this guy came in here to snitch or something like that. So he went up to him and then just took off on him, and I guess he broke his jaw. And then after that, they started to honor the policy, like, because he was also in the hole in the same prison I was in, Stillwater. So like after he did that, like anyone that went on writs that were in the hole, they got to honor the policy, and they would put us in a hole in there, and that sucked. Jail is worse, because sometimes like they have different sizes, but one in particular I was in, it was a small hallway that gets narrow, and at the end is the little shower with the curtain. Ooh. And it was just 3 cells, and then the windows that I looked out from was just the cinder blocks, you know. And I was like, oh, this sucks, you know. But wow. Yeah, so I went on writs, you know, and they're telling me I was screwed or whatever, and the public defender was like, your boy Nieves is saying that you did this and this and that, and I was playing dumb, you know. I don't know who that guy is, and I don't know what you're talking about. So then my next appearance, I'm already forgetting these legal terms, but this was before you would take it to trial. They would give you the option to do that or take a plea bargain. And the plea bargain was like 87 months or something.
Ooh.
Do 2/3 of that or whatever. And he said that the guy I chopped and my guy who came to got me that night to find out what happened to the son, like they agreed to take the stand if they had to. So if I took it to trial and they pointed the finger like, yeah, he did it,
That was him.
then I would have been looking at up to 20 years. And I'm like, 20 or 7 or whatever, do 2/3 or whatever. Cool, you know, where do I sign? And then, yeah, so about that, like around that time, I was still thinking about like payback. I was still thinking about like my enemies, you know, getting back on the street and being up to no good. You know, the only difference, I was still in the process of educating myself, being more positive and everything, but I was, you know, still wrestling with these hard demons. So when I got my time extended, that was the best thing that ever happened. That, like, it really knocked me down a peg, you know, to the point that when I was getting close to leaving, this time my real release date, everybody was like, "Oh my God, like, how does it feel?" I'd be like, "Fuck you," you know. I don't know, like I don't want to think about it. What if they pick me up on something else? You know, a lot of guys who were with me or saw me do something, even people in my own circle who wound up being confidential informants and stuff like that. You know, I was ready for them to tell the cops that I did this or that. So I was like, no hope. You know, I was just like not thinking about like freedom. Yeah.
Okay. It was still in the back of your head, like, oh, what's next? What's gonna happen now?
But then when the day came, and then I packed my stuff, and then got in my PO's SUV. Like, it was surreal. It was so surreal. You know, I went out there with the good intention, with the perfect intention that a lot of these inmates have to go out with. You know, I was like a tourist. You know, like my eyes wide open. I was taking everything in. I saw everything in a different light. Every block, like, or where I grew up around, you know, it just looked cleaner. Not just because it literally was, you know, like it, but it just seemed like it looked better, you know. It looked nicer, you know, and yeah, I just went out there just ready to attack life, you know. I didn't really attack life. Before prison, I went from attacking people. After prison, I was like, all right, I need a job, you know. And I got a job fast because one of the guys in prison told me to call this number and tell the lady that I know Gideon Hardy. We all know him as Hardy, and then I knew him for like the whole sentence for like 5 years, and I never knew his first. I always knew him as Hardy, and when he said Gideon, I was like, Gideon is your first name? And I don't know. I just thought it was funny because he looks like a Hardy. You know, there's people who look like Johnny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I find out your real first name was Gideon, I would laugh at you. But yeah, thanks to him, I got into this job. You know, this temp job, and then they sent me from there to an industrial bakery, and then I got hired on, and I moved up pretty fast. And then yeah, I kind of shit on that, you know. But yeah. So yeah, I ended up going on the run. You know, I was messing with like bad women, you know, who just cost me everything.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then when I got caught, because I just got in a fight at a bar, and then they were looking for her, for this ex in particular, because these guys were trying to jump me and another guy, and she drove through the crowd and then ran a guy over, hit his leg, like went over his leg. And so yeah, they were looking for her, but then they ran my name and then saw that I was a fugitive. And then yeah, did how many months? I did a few more months. Did 5 months. Yeah, I did 5 months that time. and then got out, kind of started over, got back in the Art Institute. Then another time I got jumped, and on my way to work, I was leaving work, and then these guys were outside of the house because I was staying in a house where another slumlord was renting from the real landlord, and he was stuffing bedrooms full of bunk beds and charging $200 a pop.
Okay.
So yeah, these guys had a problem with me because one of the guys wanted to borrow my boxing gloves, and I was like, no, man, like I'm about to go to work, like tomorrow. And then he just kept pestering me. He's like, I'll buy him. I was like, if you have money, just go to Walmart.
Yeah, buy your own.
And then he got tough with me. He got in my face, like basically trying to punk me to get them off me. So then I threw my phone down. I was like, you really want to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of puffed my chest out. And then all of a sudden he's like, it doesn't have to be this way. I was like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? Just get the fuck out of my face. I'm trying to go to work. So he got his boys and said that I started shit. And then, yeah, so they were all like, it was a big group. And that's how I learned that if it's more than 5 people jumping you, they're stomping at you, but they're kind of kicking each other. So I didn't take as much damage as when I got jumped by 3 guys and other time by 5 guys. Okay. You know what I mean? But that night, so I ended up not going to work. Yeah, they broke my phone, which is still useful after that. And they took my shoes, ripped my shirt off. You know, I still have my pants, but after that, I just kind of like crawled back in or whatever. The slumlord was trying to help me, kind of protect me and stuff. A couple other guys came out, try to back me up, and they got one guy got knocked out, another guy got beat up. And so yeah, once I went in, like they just calmed the fuck down and then just kind of dispersed. And then yeah, so one of my guys from that job like wanted to kind of console me, you know, brought beer, he took some coke out, you know, did a couple bumps and stuff. And then maybe a day later, the PO came to give me give me a breathalyzer because I had a couple more drinks. I was down the street with a girl, and when he called me, I ran down, it was like at 4 a.m. Oh. I ran down the alley, went in the back, took my shirt off my belt, made myself look like I just woke up, and they breathalyzed me, and it was like 0.008 or something like that. And then he told me to go to his office like first thing in the morning, like when it was daytime, and they gave me a UA. And then a couple of days later, I got home from school, and then the cops woke me up. Like they're all aiming their tasers, you know, and there were cop cars like covering the block. Like this is overkill. Okay. You know, even the roommates were like, "What the? Like we thought you killed somebody." You know, no. So I did 10 days, got out. You know, still had my job. A supervisor and a lead were calling in on my behalf, so that it counted as that. And I used up all my points. So fast forward to when I had another bad ex. She got me out of that place. It was a bad neighborhood. I was the only Mexican in the hood. So I was like, so somebody also pulled a gun on me, but he was too scared to shoot me. I was at the bus stop just waiting for the city bus to pick me up, and then like he like walked up and then kneeled down like he was tying his shoe, and it came up, you know what I mean? And then,
like trying to rob you?
He was one of the guys that jumped me.
Oh, okay.
He was with those guys. But, you know, at that time, there's the fight, flight, or freeze. I think I was in freeze mode because I was like a passenger, you know, or like I was sitting in a movie theater looking out this big screen through my eyes, and I was just looking at him. And then he just walked away. So it was pretty surreal. And then when I got on the bus, that put me in like a good 3-day depression because I was thinking about how I literally just let this guy kill me. You know what I mean? But, you know, it was, every day was so eventful that it helped me get over it. Like, if I got depressed and then there was nothing to distract me, then that depression would last long. But, you know, I was working nights, going to school in the morning. you know, school was always a breath of fresh air because I was like a lion coexisting with the sheep there, and they all found me intriguing. You know, they're like when you go to the zoo and see these predatory animals, and like just kind of you're in awe of how beautiful they are, but you wouldn't come that
So
close.
majestic.
Yes, I was majestic. Yeah, but yeah, they really helped a lot too. Yeah, but yeah, I got past it, and then this girl who I met who was in one of the rooms in there, she needed to get the fuck out of there too, cause like she was good looking. She was a stripper, but yeah, so she suggested that she would find someplace under her name, and I could move in with her. And I was kind of desperate because like the next time these fuckers point a gun at me, I don't think he's gonna be scared, you know, or maybe one of his boys who isn't scared is gonna do it, you know, and plus another roommate was stealing my stuff until I caught him red-handed, and I beat the living shit out of him, and I didn't want to get in another fight. I didn't want to risk going back. I really, you know, even after I got jumped, I just wanted to be left alone. You know, like I was not telling myself like in a way like I was convincing myself, but I was like in my head I'm like, this is what I have to go through to earn my freedom, and so be it. You know, I'll go through hell, you know, but something's got to give because like I'm still learning how to live. And I still want to live to learn, you know, I just need to learn how to live. And still figuring shit out, you know, I can lose my life before I started to really learn how to, and start to really map out a future for me, you know. Cause like I just muddled through it, you know. When I got the job, you know, I got it quick. When I went to the Art Institute, you know, they gave me a grant because I came from nothing. I had absolutely nothing. You know, so that was pretty easy. You know, I got the job in school pretty easily. So now I just gotta, you know, get something out of it to show something. You know what I mean? Mm. And yeah. So when we moved to the college campus, we were rooming with people from the University of Minnesota, and she completely flipped. All of a sudden, she just this controlling, you know, narcissistic, you know, just unmedicated. You know, like crazy girl, and she would think I'm cheating on her for no reason, and I'm like, I work, go to school, and I hit the gym across the street from school. When I'm at the gym, I'm cheating. So then she picks a fight, and I'm like, oh my god! And thankfully they had cameras in the house because the previous roommate was stealing from them. So like to them it was funny seeing the videos of her running at me, and then like me holding her back. One time she ran into my hand and she fell onto the coffee table and did like a spin. It did look funny.
I can only imagine it in my head, like you just holding it.
Yeah. And she got kicked out of there because she got too wild. But she had a copy of the key. She showed up. And then, she came in the middle of the night, or not in the middle. That time actually was before I would have to get ready for work. And then, she started attacking me until I had to just slam her and hold her down. I was just tired of her shit, you know. Oh. Like if I wanted to just like pick her up higher and just slam her, like do what Eli does, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like she deserved it. But so I held her down, and thankfully one of our roommates, she's a pro-feminist. She called the cops first. And then I let her go, and then she called the cops, and she was telling them outlandish shit that I was like how bad I was abusing her. But
thankfully you had the cameras and everything.
Well, like, there's the cameras, but the roommates were there too, and they all vouched for me. They ended up taking her, but when they took her, she put a restraining order on me, and then put her address on the restraining order, my address on the restraining order as hers. So. The next day I went to work, I explained to them, cause like I was still relying on the bus, and by then like the transit, like it was you know done, you know, I couldn't make it to work. So the next day I worked nights, by the way, and then I waited for the HR lady to show up in the morning, and then I told her what happened, And I told everybody at work, like, what do you think is gonna happen? You know, and they told me it's gonna be a no-fault calling, you know, because like, what the fuck, you know? Yeah. And then the lady wanted to make an example out of me, so I got fired from there. And then I went to school. Then from school, when I got home, right when I walked in, a couple minutes actually, the cop showed up and served me my restraining order. Told me to, you know, politely told me to get the fuck out and dispute it. So I got out, and then I basically snuck back in, and then disputed it. A couple weeks later, she didn't show up, but my roommates were ready to come too, and yeah, so the restraining order was dropped, but they're telling me like, look, if you see her walking down the street, just run, you know. I was like, okay. And then right around then, I already had a round trip planned to fly out to Chicago, go visit my family around Chicagoland, and then go up to my mom's, see them, and then fly to Florida just to get away from everything. And then I have family there, but yeah, I just spent a few days there, and I walked up and down the beach drinking Patron. Yeah. I was like, it was the worst time to vacation, you know. Like, I was mentally not right. So like, I just drank all day, you know.
Try to ease
and kind of burned a bridge, you know. Being irresponsible with the family members, I feel terrible, you know. But it is what it is. Like, I'm not that guy anymore, and they don't have to worry about me, you know, going over there. Yeah. But yeah, that's when I decided to settle down, start all over in Wisconsin with my mom and my nephews, because when I met them, like we connected so hard, because they were also going through issues. My sister and her baby's dad were they had their problems. The dad's a piece of shit, you know. The youngest was still in diapers, so I played a huge role in his potty training and everything. And this kid, when he started talking more, he wanted to call me daddy, and I was like, oh no, I'm Uncle Juan. That's even better, because you know,
Uncle, Funkle.
Yeah, Funkle. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all she wrote from there. Like shortly after, I started to realize that if I stopped going out on weekends to bars, I would have money to afford to train.
Okay. That was a good incentive.
Dude, right? It was crazy, you know? And since I was little, back in the 90s, I had earlier memories. First of all, one of my first memories as a child, like, you know, when you start to, your hippocampus starts to, you know, was getting, storing memories. Yeah, was getting beaten. And for the longest, I wanted to get back at my sister's dad, because he used to hurt my mom and he used to hurt us. And Mike Tyson was still the biggest name, you know, in the early 90s. Okay. And I dreamed of being his size, you know, moving like him. And when I stopped at 5'7", I was disappointed. Ooh. But, you know, it kind of started from that, from the abuse and from watching fighting, you know, on TV, okay. Particularly boxing. But I grew up fighting on the street so much. I mean, not everybody boxes. You know, there are kicks. There are people outnumbering each other. You know, you're getting stomped, and people are even choking each other. You know, even shitty technique, but the intent is there. Yeah. So it translated well to MMA. Like when UFC blew up, they were on Spike TV. I was watching them, and Ultimate Fighter was there too. You know, before it was like on pay-per-view or whatever. When it was available, even in prison when I had a TV, you know, I would have, all my days were set. I would have days like Monday I had this to look forward to, you know, these few things, Tuesday, whatever, you know, etc.
Yeah, your schedule.
And like I had it down to you know, like the whole working out first thing in the morning, you know, I get a little nappy time, you know, read, draw, watch whatever I liked, worked out again. You know what I mean? It was, and then at night, you know, when the shift changed, I would burn ink, make hooch, or, you know, keep it warm, you know. But that's like since UFC blew up, that's when I really wanted to fight in the cage. You know, and it's kind of why I suggested we did this in the cage, because like from one cage to another, you know what I mean? I kind of grew up in one cage, and I really started to develop myself in this cage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. On the mat generally, but like I kind of wanted to make this, you know, like what would you call it? Like
Good reference.
Good reference, like iconic, I guess. You know,
Like it's something meaningful to you, like.
very meaningful. Yeah. Yeah. But now getting back to when I realized that I could actually afford to train, I looked up like gyms, MMA gyms, and two of them popped up. I was living in Burlington, Wisconsin, and Rufus Sports MMA in Milwaukee, and I saw Constrictor MMA in McHenry, and I was kind of in between those two. Or I think Burlington and McHenry is a little closer. Well, whatever. I was planning on checking out both of them, but I went to McHenry first, and when I walked in, it said Constrictor MMA, but it wasn't MMA. It was just jiu-jitsu. So I complained to one of my old buddies, who he was a Navy SEAL, so he's an old dude too, like really hard-headed, you know, tough, you know, and also very smart, very wise. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Rufus Sport because I thought this was gonna be MMA, but you know, they're just kind of playing touch butt. And he's like, all right, look at you, you're like 30 years old, you have no grappling. You know, how about stay there? It's a small gym, you know, so you're gonna get more attention. Doors are gonna open. You're gonna meet a lot of people, and a lot of them are gonna grant you access towards people who know MMA. You might actually be good buddies with the coach, with the instructor, and then he's gonna wanna, you know, reciprocate to whatever you wanna do. Because I also, since the beginning, I also wanted to be a coach as well. Sure. You know, and yeah, so like right away he let me be an assistant kids coach, and that helped me develop even more as a person, because like I didn't know how to act around other people's kids. You know, it was just so awkward until I like got comfortable. You know, I started to grow up. You know what I mean? And yeah, so that was good. That was good advice he gave me. Plus an open mat that gym held maybe a couple months after I started training. That's where I met Brett. You know, our coach Brett. You know, the guy who kind of built this from the ground up. Yeah. I was asking him for advice. I was like, yeah, this place, man, it's just the jiu-jitsu, but I want to fight. So like, what do you think I should do? What's your opinion? Should I go to, cause then I heard about Team Current. I was like, should I go to Team Current or something? He's like, just fuck with me. And I was like, really? Cause like he never like opened up like, hi, I'm Brett. I'm a, you know, MMA coach, you know.
So he already had his gym set up and everything?
No. And we were doing live positionals. Bart Polacheski was there. He was a former pro MMA fighter. He was in WEC. I watched him from there to UFC. So when he was there in my head, I was just kicking and screaming. But like on the surface, I'm like, how you doing, sir? Yeah, nice to meet you. Okay.
Yeah. How's it going?
All right. But
play it cool.
Yeah, we did live positionals, and then when Brett just ran through the jiu-jitsu instructor, like it was nothing. Like he just sunned him. I was in awe, but I was also, cause like we were tight at the time, so I was like, damn, he got my boy. But yeah, he just and then he started coaching him like what he should be doing. You know what I mean? So it's like it was different for me to see an instructor getting coached. You know what I mean? Because like he already had this air about him in his gym around his underlings, you know, and then just learning, like that was like my first experience, like where I truly started to see that like there are levels to this, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, and yeah, so like right there I was like, man, I'm pretty blessed, man. Like I kind of ran into this guy I never heard of.
You're
You know,
thankful
not
you
not
stayed
that I
there.
knew, huh?
You're thankful that you stayed there and didn't like book it to
It's not like I was thinking. Yeah. I'm thankful that I did stick with that
the
jujitsu
gym.
place. But anyone and everyone I met who were willing to offer, you know, like knowledge, you know what I mean. I was trying to soak it all in. Granted that like my hardest thing to grasp wrestling, you know, like just hitting people just comes so easy.
Yeah, you've always done that, just like straight
Yeah.
punches.
Yeah. And yeah, so I'm very grateful of that. And then shortly after I met Mackenzie, I saw her at that gym one day during advanced class. The first day they let me do advanced class, but just the rolls, but not the technique. And I saw her run through. She took little Matt, his last name like Kirkering or something like that. Took him down, just sliced through him like butter, mounted to the armbar. I knew her mom. I didn't know that was Jackie's daughter. I was like, damn, she's good. So fast forward to the year after, she started training in Lake Geneva where they opened up another gym. And then I would go there when I would do MMA in McHenry, because he would do it on days they didn't do jiu-jitsu at the jiu-jitsu place. And then right from there, I would drive up. And then, so then we started getting cool. And long story short, we're together. And I always wanted a girl that could defend herself. So like the universe was like, here, take this. I was like, cool.
I'll take it. What is it now? 5 years later?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, from then on, you know what I mean? School moved from McHenry to Huntley, then Huntley to here in Woodstock. A little bit closer to home, you know, not too much wear and tear on the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And basically here we are, you know?
It's amazing. Like your whole life, you've just basically been fighting either people in prison and now in a cage.
Yeah.
That is very admiring.
Thank
Like one thing I wanted to ask you, like, what is one thing that MMA has brought for you in terms of your mental, like the way you live your life and everything? Like, how has it shaped you?
Well, for one thing, I have like this more. It's funny. I want to say unwavering confidence, but I could say it now because like I just overcame these mental obstacles of taking two straight losses. Right now, my confidence really solidified. But the one thing, as I feel my skill set develop, you know what I mean, gaining more experience, jumping another level, you know what I mean. I even humility, like I never prided on being arrogant or anything like that, but like I still look at people the same way, you know, like I see them for who they are. Like I'm not gonna lie, like one of my flaws, I look down at people who look down at me.
Okay.
But like I admire people for who they are, not what they are or what they could do for me. You know what I mean? Like I'd be cool with the janitor, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'd be friendly with the waiters, with the waitresses and stuff.
You'll treat the janitor and the waiter the same as like some like high level person.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I want to see like a businessman and be like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah, like, oh, I have to hold them up higher than like this person.
Can I kiss your shoes? You know.
Yeah.
But also one thing I like, because before I started training, I was working out like avid. Like after work, I would go straight to the gym, do about 2.5 hours, sometimes 3.
Wow.
But I had nothing. I couldn't do nothing with that strength. You know what I mean? I didn't play a sport. I wasn't entering competitions. I wasn't doing any kind of marathons. I was just kind of aimlessly. At that time, it was like a good stress relief till it got to a certain point that I was like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? And now I feel like I can put these to use. You know, a lot of people out there who who want to get into training, you know what I mean, probably can't afford it or too scared, but would be willing to work with me on the side, I would pull them in. I would help develop them.
Yeah.
Because another reason why I want to be a coach is because I really just it just like my heart swells when I see little kids develop, or when I see a grown man with no prowess, like
Like you can just tell.
athletic ability, do something right, and it just fills me with joy. It just feels really good. It makes me really happy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You see like that glow in their eyes. You slowly start building up that confidence, and that you even though they're grown up, you watch them grow.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people. There's a lot of man children out here. You know what I mean? You know, yeah. Just and then seeing when they do something right and how intense they get. Like now they're hungry. Now, all right, I just threw a proper cross. Like I'm
Yeah.
whatever, work my hook or something like that. Like they're so serious, and it's like, yeah, I see that drive, like that spark, that flame really just ignited. It got even bigger. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I feed off of that. It's a great feeling. You know what I mean?
Like you're grateful that you got to be a part of that. You taught them that move or whatever.
Yeah, and I see it as a duty. I don't see it as a means for them to treat me any different. I mean, if I teach you how to fight and you treat me like shit, that's different. Like fuck you too. But like I love when people are grateful. You know what I mean? That's another good feeling I get. But I set that apart from just teaching, just seeing people develop. You know what I mean? Because I don't always want to expect everyone to be grateful of whatever I show them, whatever I help them overcome, whatever obstacle I help them overcome. You know what I mean? But it's not everyone's the same. Like a lot of people, they come in with different intentions. Yeah. And sometimes a lot of times it's not personal. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or some people do want to take my head off. Like they do want to beat me up.
A lot of people have a bit of an ego. They're like, oh, this guy, take him.
And it's no surprise being a fighting gym.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna have egos, and those egos will get crushed. Will it make him better? Hopefully.
Yeah. The one, it's sad. I've seen some guys come in here a lot of times, and then they don't show up because that ego gets checked, and they're like, oh, I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't want to keep doing it. So like they don't do it anymore. And the guys that do stay, it's been amazing to watch them like grow. Like you said, go from that man child to like an actual like good person. Yeah.
I like seeing when the arrogant guy becomes humble. I don't mean, I'm trying to not to put it in a way like I like seeing them getting crushed. You know what I mean?
Well, what advice would you give to the guy, like you mentioned, that maybe he's thinking of doing this, but is just too afraid, like he doesn't want to get punched in the face or whatever? Like, what would you tell him? Like, hey, man.
Like what I told the most recent guy, it's not so much of an advice, but I explained to him that we don't just put anyone in a hard sparring session on the first day. Like we're actually trying to develop you. We're actually trying to teach you fundamentals, so that when you could somewhat, more or less closer to being like, let's say like a higher percentage of your fundamentals is more intact. Like, yeah, then you can start sparring, but it's not gonna be just hard sparring off the rip. Like you need like the light sparring and stuff to help you develop further. But like we're not just gonna take your head off right off bat. And I also suggested there's a little guy at my job. His name is Cody, so if he sees this,
Hi, Cody.
He's small. He was born without having. I think he only had one kidney. I think he has like one lung. He had multiple heart surgeries. He's probably as tall as little Liam, with a small voice. You know what I mean? And he has issues like anger issues and stuff because he has a piece of shit dad as well. And his dad's on steroids. Oh. I don't want to talk too much about his dad. I leave it to him to speak publicly. But he's also scared of getting hit. He's scared of the pain. And I was telling him just what I said, you know what I mean? Like we kind of build people up, you know. And I offered him like we could do something on the side, you know. So that's kind of the advice, you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. Like I would advise anyone to just go to any gym. But the thing is, like, there's other gyms that are just straight knuckleheaded. You know, it's just too dog eat dog. You know that. You know I wouldn't want to give the wrong advice. The right advice to the wrong person, because like the closest gym, they might go there, get concussed.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, no, it's not for me, or I don't
decide
want to do it.
Decide that it's not for them. You know, but I think fighting is for everybody. I mean, everybody's born with the Latin ability to fight. You know,
especially men.
Yeah, and still, it's good to have a woman that could defend themselves, because I was like being in prison. Like, sex cases is one of the highest like numbers of like offenses, but then but still crime against women is like the highest, you know, like the highest rate. You know, people are either beating them or you know, raping them, you know what I mean? And there's people with domestics being in and out, you know. When I was in jail, I went through like 6 cellmates, and most of them were in there for domestics, you know. And it's like they speak of it so casually, and then that like made me just, you know, like look at them with so much disdain. You know, like it's such a casual thing to speak about beating a woman, you know. And then like even like burglaries, or like there's women getting assaulted on the street, you know. Not all women look for trouble, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of criminals they look for the easier prey.
Yeah, and it's,
you know,
unfortunately, it's women.
And I don't want to like leave my family and then have something bad happen to them when I'm not there. I know like when we start having a family, I'm not always gonna be there. You know what I mean? But
you know
that's
you know that woman, she can handle herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like Mackenzie, like when I met her, she had no striking whatsoever, but like her hip tosses and arm bars are so vicious. I wouldn't advise attacking an arm bar on the street though, especially like people can bite, you know.
Yeah, it's funky what they can do.
But the hip tosses on concrete is definitely going to be enough to let the guy know, like, whoa,
It is.
Maybe I should back off. You know what I mean? You know, it's just one of my biggest fears. You know, is something happening to something I'm starting to build. You know, when I'm finally able to start building. You know, because I've been knocked down so much, so many times, so hard, and at some points I would feel like, well, maybe I'm not meant to have a family because of what I've done. But hold on, let me just keep pushing forward. You know, maybe just no other way to do it. You know what I mean? Just gotta go through hell just to get to where I need to be. And then when I got to this peaceful environment, that's another thing that this gave me, because like I still need chaos, but I can't do it on the street. You know what I mean?
It's controlled chaos.
I can't beat up my coworkers as much as they deserve it. You know what I mean? You know, I don't want to go back for a simple fight. You know, this controlled chaos. You know what I mean? In the safety environment of a padded room. You know, it's what's keeping me leveled. You know. Keeping me sane. It's helping me get through things when things are too unbearable that last for weeks at a time. You know what I mean? I just consistently have to keep pushing through, you know, and boom, I don't know where I wake up and I'm feeling energized and more positive. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I was speaking to a teammate. I won't mention him, but yeah, he said when he first started, he did boxing. Like he went to a boxing gym and like they just go ham. So it doesn't matter if you're new. Like that's a sad part about a lot of gyms. Like unfortunately, it will draw away the people that are wanting to do it because they just get concussed. So yeah, I'm grateful that I actually
Marco was the one that brought me here because like I didn't go to any other gym and got like just beaten up, and then I truly believe that it would have been like, okay, yeah, no, I don't want to do this if I'm just gonna get like beat the crap out of.
Yeah.
So Coach Brett, huge shout out to him. He has built something truly, truly awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that this gym
Yeah, me too. And it was after my last concussion when it really sunk in. Cause there are times I would have heated rounds. I would reciprocate with some of the guys who are not as experienced but still tough, and then they got greater attributes in height and length, to where like in the heat of the moment it's okay, because like they're still hard to reach, so I'm gonna give it to them. But then after the concussion, it's like, okay, I'm gonna turn into the game. When they try to entice me, that's where I need to develop and maintaining self-control, keeping tight defense, being reactive. You know what I mean? If they're trying to take my head off, I gotta think of it as a real fight, to where like, yeah, just mentally stable, so that I can be cool and calm in the heat of the moment when I'm in front of a crowd in a cage fighting a stranger. You know what I mean? That's what I took from it. But now, like, I won't just think, like I said, I won't reciprocate, because sometimes I put myself in that danger to where I do take a hard punch. So like, just being wiser, can't do these hard rounds with people consistently when they're still fairly new, because like once they get to my experience, my skill level, they might be more susceptible to getting KO'd, or by the silliest punch. And it's, I get scared. Like I accidentally caught, not accidentally, I intentionally threw like a switch kick, low kick, and going up top, and the brother, he was shooting at the same time, and I accidentally like connected knee to his face, and he like tumbled over. He's good, but it rocked him, and then like I got scared. Like I felt like because he was about to fight pretty soon after, and I kind of saw in my head him getting dropped in the cage, and I'm like, all right, I gotta be careful with how I throw things. With certain people, depending on how they fight, especially when they shoot and they commit to it, I'm just gonna let them shoot. I gotta work on my takedown defense anyways. You know what I mean?
There's no reason to like.
I'm not trying to make them pay while they're trying to shoot, because sometimes that making them pay that price could be a little more serious. You know what I mean?
Like, one, it could like really injure him, which would put him out of like whatever fight he has coming, but also like demoralize him. Like, oh man,
take away the confidence for a fight when you're supposed to build them up. Or I don't want to chip away at the granite, especially when there's so many people with great potential in here. You know what I mean? I don't want to chip away at anyone's granite. Even the tougher guys, of course.
you want
everybody's younger.
You want to chip away that granite, but to take away like the bad habits or whatever, to build them to be this beautiful
that granite. But this granite,
yeah, you want to keep it intact.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for somebody who is currently pursuing this, who wants to fight? Like, what is some mentality that he should like develop to continue to pursue this path that he's on?
The intent to hurt, what's the, I'm trying to think, what's the duality?
Which one?
Duality. You still gotta be a good person, but like, if you're gonna compete, like you have to really attack this guy. You can't be nice. You can only be nice before and after the fight. Okay, that's just me. But But a lot of people, it seems like they're more tentative to really commit to attacking, you know. So like, there's a time and place in training where you could spar hard and stuff. But even when you hit pads, when you're hitting the pads, you gotta imagine, you gotta take the most recent information you just took in from sparring and bring it into hitting pads and bag work, you know. But that's funny because like I didn't start. It's not like I had a decent upbringing where there was no violence. Then I wanted to become violent. So it's hard to I don't know where, like I don't. They're not coming from where I'm coming from. No. So it's hard to give that kind of advice. But like you do have to have that intent, that killer instinct. You know, you have to develop it. You can develop it through training, and possibly do some of those kind of glorified sparring matches, kind of tournaments, you know, where you're all geared up, you know. I think that would be a good introduction to when you actually get in the cage and fight a guy with skin and bone, you know.
And just some small gloves.
Yeah, and small gloves, baby gloves. Yeah.
That is good.
Sorry it wasn't clearer.
No, like yeah, it's difficult to give like certain advice because not a lot of people could. It doesn't resonate with like certain people. In a very small group, it might be like, wow, okay, I needed that.
Then there's the people who really want to do it.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about. I know that I can only give out so much advice based on like the things that I've lived through. So it came to a point where I was like, okay, I know I've met a lot of incredible people who have some really great stories where the people that I can't necessarily reach out to, or like I can't, how would I word it? I can inspire them. Somebody else can.
Yeah.
So this is why I created this, because your story, what you've been through, it can inspire a young man who's possibly going through that same path. I mean, he's gangbanging, whatever. He's in and out of jail. He feels like the world is his whole world is just that prison and gangs. Like that he can do it, and I know that you will inspire somebody out there. So
yeah. I mean, it'd be cool, you know. I feel like it would definitely. I don't want to say like even out the odds, but I feel like America is full of very, very soft individuals. Each generation getting softer, and I feel like maybe if they listen to my story, to Marco's story, which I haven't listened to the podcast, but I saw the clip, and I like how he talks. I like his voice, but you know, whoever else you get on your podcast, and even other podcasts, I'm hoping a lot of soft people could come across something that they need to be told, and you know, decide to make a change, you know, and yeah, because it's like if we go to war with certain countries,
yeah, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, a lot of the big mouths are gonna hide behind us, and then we're so limited.
Yeah, we're just like this. We're the 300, and then there's giant group.
And it's like, all right, we're gonna dine in hell, and you guys are too, because we're gonna die.
Yeah.
You're next.
The craziest part is like I was one of those soft men. I'll be completely honest. Like there's still moments where I'm still like soft, where that is still kind of like still in me. But as I continue training and as I continue to surround myself with just fighters, it has been an amazing experience, and I wish that all men could honestly experience that, because it will transform their lives. And I know it will go from being soft to actually realizing, okay, you know, there's bad in the world, and I can't have this ego. I need to be the right person.
And it is okay to be soft. I mean, I had my soft moments, and even when I was at my worst, I was very open about my mental flaws, my mental weaknesses, my the trials and tribulations that I still couldn't fathom how I could overcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Until I finally overcame it. But I know when I express my weaknesses to a certain crowd of people who are tough, who didn't have to struggle with the mental struggles I did, I know that it kind of like made them see me differently. You know?
Yeah, at least for me, it makes me respect them because they're willing to open up. They have they have accepted that they have that flaw, and it's not a weakness at all. It is a hurdle that they're either currently overcoming or they're currently like acknowledging it, and they're gonna jump that hurdle.
It's the best way to move forward. I mean, you have to acknowledge it. You have to come to terms with.
I had this issue, or whatever.
Like one of them, I feel that I overcame. You know what I mean? Like I lacked self-confidence. One of the hardest things to do was admit it in front of a group of people I don't even know. When I went to the ayahuasca ceremony in Florida, shout out to Richard from Halo Exteriors. He offered to fly me there. Just almost randomly, I was talking to him about my issues, and then he asked me if I wanted to do ayahuasca. And I was like, really? Like right now? He's like, no, it's not something that you could just take out and do it, but like, I'm going to Florida. I could fly you there. I'll pay. And I'm like, fuck. Like I just couldn't say no because I already heard about that. I already heard about ayahuasca, you know what I mean?
From Andrew Cuban.
And from several people on podcasts. But, and then a couple of friends, you know, so it was a 3-day like therapy session. And each day you did ayahuasca starting at 5 p.m. and then all the way to like 1:30 where they feed you and you're still kind of tripping balls. But what I liked about it, and after the first night in the morning, after breakfast, we did I think it's called orientation, where people take turns talking, and then we talked about like what we experience or whatever we want to open up that's bothering us and stuff like that. And it was so nerve-wracking to me. Like now for me, like seeing it back, this was in May. I was thinking like, how could I be so nervous? I was almost on the verge of tears, you know, like it's so, like I could fight in front of a crowd, you know what I mean? I could stand in front of a crowd, but then like when they told us that we have to open up, I wasn't gonna run from it. I wasn't gonna pass. You know, I needed it. I knew that I needed to open up, and especially in front of these people I don't even know, to really start to build up my confidence. I was basically, at that time I was a hot mess. You know, I was still pretty raw from losing the second time, and then had certain people would try to talk to me about quitting fighting just because I lost the second time, and you know what I mean? Yeah. Meanwhile, right after the loss, I was thinking about like, all right, what I gotta do to fix like what happened, you know what I mean? But anyways, like just these 2 talks I had with these people about quitting kind of tripped me up, made me a little unstable, and then I almost started thinking about it, but I was like, but I still want to fight. I'm still pretty healthy. Yeah. Anyways, back at where was it? Florida. Well, in Florida. Oh. I think it was in Jacksonville. I forgot already, but I get hit in the head too much. Just telling them how I lacked self-confidence, and during the trip, when I said it to myself, like, wow, I lack self-confidence. And I was laying on my back, and then the sun had went down and it was dark, but it was still kind of dim. You know, it was still not completely dark yet. So like I was just like raising my hand and I could see my silhouette, and it felt so light, and I felt kind of like free, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was the very beginning of healing from that, you know what I mean? From lacking the confidence that I should have to finish a fight, you know, to be the guy who's pretty tough, you know what I mean? And then realizing that the losses I took, I had to take in order for the lessons that need to be learned to sink in, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of great fighters. You know, granted, I'm not gonna become a UFC champ, and I don't care. You know, I'm 36, and I can still hang with these young guys, and that's a trophy right there. You know what I mean? I carry that shit with pride. You know what I mean? But wherever I was going with that, it's at the end of the day, like I feel much more better with myself. You know what I mean? And I hope, I don't want anyone to go through these kind of losses per se. If it has to happen, then I at least want to be there for them. You know what I mean? Because people who didn't go through these kind of trials and tribulations will give me the wrong advice.
Round 2.
Round 2.
All right, so unfortunately, my mistake, the phone died. So we're not, at the moment, entirely sure where we left off, but okay, try to remember. If you had any advice for a young man who is currently struggling, like he feels like he has no purpose, if you're just down in the dumps, what could you tell him to help him realize, like, hey, you know, it's just a bad chapter in your life. Things will get better.
I tell them to keep pushing, you know, just keep moving forward. If they have any people in their lives, they're trying to be in their lives good people. We're trying to offer good advice, good guidance, to take it. Because I had quite a few circumstances where I brushed people off, you know, teachers and people's parents who really wanted what was best for me. But at the time, I only wanted my parents who were struggling. They did their best, but I wanted those words to come from them, you know. And just because of that, I lost opportunities as a young man, as a boy, to get myself out of this mental dump, you know, this mental prison
Like
I was in.
Victim mentality.
Victim mentality. That's another thing. The day that you decide that you're not a victim, you know, things will change. You know, your life will get better. You know, decide you're not a victim. Decide you're gonna get on your feet. You're gonna get after. You're gonna do whatever. You know, if you got a job, fucking work your way up, or just work hard and save your money. Get away from the bad friends that, you know, keep you broke on, you know, going out with them on the weekends.
Drain you down.
You know, and if you don't have a job, get a job. You know,
Yes.
go make some money. Start from there. You know,
Don't do anything.
and one step at a time. No need to think too much about the future. Start with today. Start with the first step, then the next.
What you can control right now.
Yeah. Start with today and plan for tomorrow, I guess. And that's it.
That is beautiful. That is something huge. Like realizing, like switching your mindset from, okay, I'm a victim. These bad things are happening to me, or like my family and where I come from is this way. I have to be that way also. Like, no, you could stray away from that path and decide to go your own route and create a better life for yourself. And it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Taking it, like checking that ego also, like not making an enemy out of everybody that's trying to help you. Like figure out who's actually trying to help you. Like when you feel triggered, that is a lot of times when it's like, okay, they said something that is true that I am avoiding to admit to myself. It's like there's something hidden in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much, Juan. Thank you for sharing your story, for being you, for wanting to help out. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being a good training partner as well.
You're welcome. You know, nowadays, I mean, I'm glad we did this podcast now, other than a few years back. You know, I just really appreciate overcoming a lot of adversity. That just reminded me of that saying from Alexander Volkanovsky: "Overcoming adversity is a privilege." You know, it's a great privilege to having obstacles in life, because like once you get past it, you know, if you fall down and you learn from those mistakes, you're so much better. You're a much better person. You know, so I'm grateful for my life. It sucked, but it was good, and I'm still living. So you know,
It made you to the man that you are now, and
Yeah.
to the man that you're becoming.
yeah,
And like one thing I always say is, it's not about your past, it's about the journey that you're in currently, and how you decide to go through your life. Like, you had a bad past, that's unfortunately, but you became someone great and are becoming someone incredibly wise, and are willing to share and help others, which is rare. And huge shout out to Coach Brett for creating this, and creating this space and allowing it to be something
yeah.
what it is today. And I look forward to what it's going to become in the future.
For sure.
So if you guys are ever near Woodstock, Crystal Lake, Elgin, wherever you are, anywhere in Illinois, come check out One Touch Fight Team. You won't regret it. We
Yeah.
got Coach Juan here.
Sorry, I almost interrupted. But if my story touched you, you know, and may have flipped the switch, made you want to start trying something out, you know, training or whatever, and you just happen to be around the corner, like he says, it's a good place to be. Otherwise, do your research. If you're close to another gym, just make sure that they're not trying to just take your heads off before you try it. You know, just be smart.
Buy headgear just in case.
Buy headgear. No, not just in case. Just get it.
Thank you so much, Juan.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Alrighty, just like that. That was episode 2.
All right.
Thank you.
Good episode, buddy. All right.
I'm glad the phone didn't die.
Yeah, this time.
Oh, man, such a knucklehead.
It's
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for another episode of The Journey to Greatness. A big thank you to Juan for opening up and sharing his story of resilience and discipline. And a big thank you to you guys for sticking around through the whole episode. Now, I don't want you to keep this to yourself. I want you to share it with everybody. Your dog, your cat, your grandma, send it to her. Please, what was your favorite part? Leave it down in the comments. And please, subscribe. It's the only way that this channel is gonna grow and for more people to hear it. And last and not least, always remember this. Your past does not define you. Your journey does.